Good evening, campers. It's me, Kieran. I can't see, just like Homer, the Greek poet, which is ever so relevant because we're going to be reviewing Ngugi Thiong'O's The Perfect Nine, translated by the author himself. This isn't Thiong'O's first self-translated work, and it's definitely not going to be his last. Thiong'O is known for doing this. He writes in his native tongue because he feels that is important. His work, Decolonizing the Mind, talks about this. Staunch in his opinions and ideas, he was actually a political prisoner in Kenya and wrote his first novel on toilet paper. What? It's a story for another day, and I want to read that book. But we're going to talk about The Perfect Nine, which is written in Homeric verse. I can already see some people be like, no, I can't know what's going in verse. Don't make me do it. Don't make me do it. Honestly, as soon as you understand the basics and fundamentals of verse and how it's constructed, it's really straightforward. This is Homeric verse, and the cement of Homeric verse is dactylic hexameter. What could it possibly mean? Let's break it down into easy components. Let's look at the latter word, hexameter. The meter is how we measure the line. So, like a meter rule. And hex is 6, like a hexagon. Hexameter means that there's 6 lots of the thing that came before it. And what was the word that came before it? Dactylic. And a dactyl is a trisyllabic foot. Trisyllabic means that there's 3 syllables, and a dactyl is where the emphasis in those syllables are. And that is long, short, short. That's it. There's no need to be scared or to complicate these things. Don't think of a dactyl as it's one short syllable more than a trochee, and the inverse of a trochee is an iamb. Just look at your finger. Remember pentadactyl that you learnt in school? That there's 5 of these? A dactyl's 1. It's 1 long, short, short. 1 long, short, short. Do that 6 times, and you write it in Homeric verse. This poetic style and a way of writing was used by Homer to talk about the epics, to talk about the myths. And this is what Thiong'O has done here. He's writing about the folklore and the mythology of Kenya, about the 10 daughters who made up the Perfect Nine. Side note, when you read translated works, be open to just getting words wrong or saying them incorrectly. I cannot pronounce half these words correctly, even though Thiong'O has given me the notes on The Perfect Nine that states I would pronounce this word as Gikuyu, but he says the U is pronounced like the O in boat, so O, so we got go, and then the I is pronounced like the A in take. In my own accent, if I substitute this for this phonetic butchering, I'm going to say go K-A, and that doesn't sound right to me. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I'm going to butcher most of these words, so let's get to it. The story is set abreast Mount Kenya, where the mother and father, Gikuyu and Mumbi, have 10 children, which makes up the Perfect Nine. I'm not entirely sure why it's called the Perfect Nine. Is it that it's like complete, like all the units are complete, like you've got one more? I'm not entirely sure. But these 10 daughters begin the 9 tribes, clans, and people of Kenya. There's not a lot of character development here, and I wouldn't say there's a plot. We're really getting at the heart of oral tradition, I would say. That he's more telling you what was happening, and you just have to follow along with what's going on. I think it would be a bit of a disservice to what Thiong'O's message and purpose is in regards to his works. For me, just tell you what happens. The only thing I'm going to give you is the title of chapter 13, which is The Ogre That Shat Without Stopping. And let's be honest, that's incredible. This is a feminist retelling of the original. Now, this isn't Thiong'O's issue, this is my issue. I can't tell if it's good or not. I can't tell what he's done and how he's made it feminist because I don't know the original. I just don't. I have no concept of Kenyan folklore and mythology. One of the impacts of colonialism is that thought should kind of be the same. That as in the Western world, because we've gone out and colonialised, that people should learn our history, our values, our cultures, our tradition, our roots. Post-colonial literature spits in the face of that notion and goes, no, you dug up our soil. You upturned our roots. And now that you've gone, we're going to plant exactly what was there before. If you're too lazy to go out and do the reading yourself, that's not on me. That's on you. It's one of the reasons why I think post-colonial writers aren't well read or aren't well known, because there's an expectation that you have to do some work. Some people aren't willing to put the effort in, or they start reading something, don't really understand where this is based on, and just give up. Writers like Thiong'O are labouring in eroded soil, and it's not good enough for us to stand back and admire the greenery that comes forth. In order to fully appreciate, in order to understand what's happening, you have to get some soil on your hands. You have to do the digging. For me, this is a 6 out of 10, but no, you're going to have to put some work in. You're going to feel a little bit alienated. You're not going to understand why certain metaphors are happening, why certain imagery is coming up, and the importance and the significance of that. And what you have to ask yourself is that the author's fault, or is that yours?